Hey, it's Heidi. I used to be a person of extremes. I live my life very black and white, very all or nothing. And my life has been a constant study in balance and finding, I think of the force, right? I think of this little guy, and I think about if I'm going to cultivate the force within me, there needs to be a balance of the universal energies. And two of the energies in particular that I have been like a lifelong student of learning how to balance are this between control and surrender. Control and surrender. When to let it go and when to get in it, okay? The other day, I'm always confronted with this lesson. My intuition's always showing me, always showing me ways to like cultivate my understanding. Anyway, I was out for a bike ride yesterday, and I'm trucking along, having a nice time, minding my own bike business. And all of a sudden, I see on the left-hand side of me this is a very serious guy. Okay, he's on a serious bike. He's got a helmet. It's got some pad action. He's in it to win it. He's barreling down on this very narrow path, full steam ahead. Like, holy cow, man! I'm trying. I got my little bike, my little cruiser with my basket on it. I'm like, slow down. And then I'm like, I gotta get out of this guy's way. And I see like this white car coming at me like full steam ahead, not full steam ahead, but coming at me, right? Like barreling down on me. But I think in the moment, I'm like, I got to control the situation. I know I'm going to get out in front of this. I'm going to get away from this guy, and I'm going to go in between them both, and I'm going to dart across to the other side of the street. I'm like in a game of Frogger, okay? My own personal game of Frogger. So all of a sudden, I do it, right? I dart out, and this car was going a little faster than I knew that it was. And so it's just like, it's like screeching on the brakes. I'm like, oh man, oh my God, I'm sorry, I'm sorry, I'm sorry. And I make it across, and I think, man, I narrowly escaped death. Okay, what is this to teach me today? I realized that the energy that I lack sometimes, especially in difficult times, is this ability to be able to let things unfold and let them pass. Let them pass. And because I'm an achiever and because I'm a controller, I can be unchecked, right? If I don't check myself before I wreck myself, literally, I want to control the situation. I want to get out ahead of it. I want to get out in front of it. And that's a really good skill to have. But what's missing is, are you going to take the right action when you're trying to get out in front? Or is it a hasty decision? Can you let things unfold a little bit more before deciding what action to take? And that's the balance of life. I think even now, especially when we're certainly a lot of us are operating out of a fear-based kind of mentality, we're scrambling around to try to get ahead of things and rushing around, or we're paralyzed and doing nothing and like wait for it to end. And I think the balance is right in the middle there. I think the wisdom is right in the middle. It's knowing what you can control and what you can let go of, and where you can get out in front of it and where you can allow it to develop and unfold. Now, the problem is if you're a person that is a controller, right? I have these 8 different personality patterns. You can look at them over at lovecoachheidi.com. And these are ways that we learn how to cope in life, how to thrive, survive, connect, or cope. We take on these little personalities and we go throughout life. And one of these is the controller personality. So if you develop that personality, learning how to allow the one thing we lack in a time like that of learning how to let things unfold and kind of take a deep breath and reduce our anxiety, really, when you learn to allow things, and what you're doing is developing trust. And if you're a controller personality, trust, especially now when things are harder, is the hardest thing to cultivate. And so, I have a lot of different philosophies on how to cultivate trust. There's actually a tenet, it's one of the tenets in my program that I offer, is how to do that. But just for now, for this quick lesson today, because I think if we don't know who we're surrendering to, or if we don't have a higher power that we learned a very long time ago that we could trust, maybe if you're a survivor or an overcomer, likely some things have happened in your life and you're like, where was God? Or can I really count on God? Or we think God is situational. If you have God's favor, if you do the prayer right, or if you do the affirmation just right, you get the favor and you get the abundance, but other people don't. How do you learn how to, and I'm not here to argue your religion or your belief system or your spirituality. I'm asking, is it working for you? Is there a way right now that you can learn to let things unfold just a little bit more, learning how to develop a little more trust in the process of life, in yourself, in the situations, And, as a relationship coach, you might say, well, I trust myself. It's other people I don't trust right now, because I hear that a lot. Well, I don't think that's true, because if you really trusted yourself, you wouldn't keep getting yourself into situations with people who continually disappoint, let you down, or hurt you. So can you really trust yourself? I don't know. It's about learning how to cultivate that sense of intuition. And trust is about where the ego is about control. I want to get out in front of it, like me on my bike yesterday. I want to get, my ego says, do this. The intuition says, wait. And being able to hear the intuition and know when to wait and when to dive in and what to do is the wisdom of life. So what kind of a belief system can you cultivate in a higher power or in a sense of divine design that's going to benefit you right now, that's going to support you right now while you're learning how to do this balance between what you can control and what you need to release and let go of? It's scary, especially when you're looking around. You're like, man, the people in charge kind of are scary to me, or I'm not quite sure the human race knows what's up, or you start to question everything. It can be really hard to cultivate that sense of trust, and then the ego wants to go, let me just fix it, let me do something. So for me, I teach this all the time in my programs, and one of the things that's helped me a lot is understanding the law of the universe is still the governing kind of law. The principles, the laws of nature are still the governing principles above all of this. And if we tune in to the nature of the universe, or the laws of the universe, the universal laws, and we line them up with our nature, we can weather any storm. We can get through anything at all, because our nature is matching the nature of the universe, not the particular happenings moment to moment. The law of gestation is one of those natural laws, right? That everything takes time. Everything has an incubation period. Sometimes we need to go within. A baby takes 9 months to come to fruition. An oak tree takes a certain amount of time. An apple, everything takes time. And so we can want immediate gratification. We can want things to be over right now. But if we just look at the law of gestation, we say, well, whatever it needs to do, it's not done doing yet. Right? Whatever needs to be happening right now, I'm going to trust in the divine design of things and know that everything is unfolding perfectly. The baby could freak out in the womb and be like, oh my God, it's taking too long, or what's up, or whatever. But it just doesn't have the ego to want its own time frame for things to be the way that it wants it to be. So it trusts the divine process and understands that everything is unfolding perfectly as it's supposed to. Another thing is to cultivate that faith right now, or that trust, is the lesson of the seasons. To understand that everything has a season and everything has a purpose. I think that, winter, spring, summer, fall. I think we want our life to be a perpetual fall, where we are just in an abundant state all the time, where we're just like, oh, life is so beautiful and I have everything I need, and boy, I'm so happy that everything I want is here. And the reality is, there is a winter. And a winter is a time for barren. It's a time for contemplation, reflection. It's a time where things die. It's a time where things need to die in order to have the spring follow the summer, where there's a rebirth, right? So winter is a necessary time. It's a time for cocooning. It's a time for hibernation. It's a time to let go of things that we were holding on to. A lot of us right now are letting go or mourning in our own individual winters, things that we want to not die. We want to keep it alive. We want to force it. We want to hold on to our old paradigms or our own beliefs about how our businesses are supposed to look or how our relationships are supposed to look. But now you're confronted with new evidence. It's a new thing now. Your relationship has a new paradigm. Your business has a new paradigm. And we are reticent to let it do what it needs to do in winter, which is die so that something can be grown in its place. We resist it. We resist the winter. We say that's not how it's supposed to be. It's not how it should be. But it is how it is. Everything experiences a winter. It just so happens many people are experiencing a winter all the time. If you have seasonal affective disorder, winter can be a really trying time for a lot of people, because it gets dark and it gets lonely and it gets a lot of things. We can be anxious, right, during this time and not knowing what's next. It's scary when things die, our situations change, and we don't know what's going to come in its place. So we cling and we hang on and we get really controlling of trying not to make things change. But the only thing that is constant is change. And the thing is like, we don't have to say a right prayer or do a right ritual to be promised a spring. Spring is something that naturally follows winter no matter what. It's not that spring becomes winter. It's that there is a winter and then there is a spring. It doesn't become something, meaning, oh, if I just hang in there, my winter will become a spring. No, there's winter and then there is spring. But if I'm stuck in winter, I won't see it. I'll be in whatever season I'm in mentally. Even though physically or financially there's a spring opportunity presenting itself, I'll be stuck in my miserable winter and I'll miss it. I don't want to overwhelm you with this concept. I want to keep it very simple. I want to keep it very like ground level so that we can all just kind of have our own awakenings around this and our own understanding. But spring is something you don't earn. Spring isn't something that if you're a good seed, God rains on you. There is no bad seed in spring. God rains on the rain comes on everything equally. The sun shines on everything equally. But we'll miss the opportunities when we're stuck in our winter, or when we don't let the things die in the winter that need to die. We'll miss the new opportunity that's in the spring. There are opportunities right now being presented to you, opportunities of new ways to go about your business, new ways to engage in your relationship, opportunities to end relationships, opportunities to distance yourself from people you know are negative. There's multiple opportunities presenting themselves to you all throughout this process. Will you allow yourself to be open to them, or are you closed off trying to hold on and cling to and control the things that are supposed to die off and be released in winter? All right, it's just a very simple concept, but there's multiple understandings. When I work with students in my programs or clients, it's like we do beginner understanding, then intermediate or apprentice, and then we do mastery, where we go even deeper into these concepts and really blow our minds, right? But for now, it's just this base level understanding. We can think that this is, like Tony Robbins says, permanent and pervasive and persistent, like the 3 P's of danger, that this is never going to change, or this is never going to go away, or this is going to be the worst thing ever. We catastrophize, and a lot of us are really good at catastrophizing things. But here's the reality. This too shall pass, not because you have to earn it or you have to be good enough to have God's grace or favor so that it'll pass, but because that's the nature of the universe. Everything passes. Everything changes. Spring comes no matter what. No matter if you're a good boy or a good girl, or you made your bed or said your whatever, it's irrelevant, okay? Spring's coming for everybody, but the wise will see it. The wise will see it. And sometimes the opportunity looks like stay still. Sometimes the opportunity looks like move, jump, leap out. You have to know which opportunity to take. So for me, it's important that I'm constantly reminding of doing this dance. It's not all or nothing. It's not black or white. It's not I have to go full steam ahead and conquer the world during this time and fix everything and make sure I've come out on this 5 steps ahead of everybody else. And it's not I do nothing, my hands are tied, I get into victim mode, right? Like we can go straight victim or victor, like it's either or. But the reality is there's the middle way, which is a more balanced perspective. From my perspective all the time, I want to bring this balance, this ebb and flow. Just like the laws of the universe, tide comes in, the tide goes out. You'll be in this season, you'll be in your winter where you'll start to feel lonely and isolated and feel all these feelings, and then you'll come into spring, you'll start to feel some newness, some growth, some opportunity. But you'll be down on yourself if you go, well, I'm just supposed to feel this way all the time or this way all the time. It's a constant ebb and flow right now in the season you're in between these two, winter and spring, and you're coming in and out. That's fine. I know it can feel a little bipolar in some extremes, but the reality is it's being able to give yourself permission, the permission you need to be where you are in the present moment. Just be where you are, right? Check in, settle in. Had I settled in that moment and not let the fear or anxiety of the bike and the car coming rule me, my wisdom would have taken over and it would have said, wait. Maybe another time my wisdom would have said, go, haul ass, get out of the way. But in that case, it would have said, wait. And so I just want to encourage the same thing from you. How can you tap into your inner intuition? How can you cultivate more trust? And how can you be in the season you're in and allow it to teach you the lessons that it wants to teach you right now? Some of you are in a winter and you're fighting it. You're like, you want to be delusional about the winter. It's not that, whatever, or you want to be totally involved in it and soaked in. The winter is a lesson. It's calling you to look at your business, to look at your relationships, to look at the things in your life and ask yourself what's working. What can you let die? What can you let go of? What needs to be reborn? It's a really good opportunity right now, and I want to encourage you to seize that opportunity. All right. If you want a deeper dive or you want more support during this time, consider letting me come alongside of you. Go over to lovecoachheidi.com and send me a private message, and we can talk about it, especially if your relationship is in a really bad winter. And I help people in all kinds of relationships, family dynamics that are dysfunctional, parent-child, sibling, whatever that it happens to be, any type of relationship. Or if you want to talk about becoming a certified life coach through me, which is about learning how to teach the same principles and skills, and I give you the program and everything. If you're curious, go over to lovecoachheidi.com and you can learn more about either one of these things. All right. I love you. I'll see you in another video. Take excellent care of yourself.